18th of November. Unlike the markets, Nick, we are back in November. It's been rough. But if you're here and you're checking us out, man, welcome. Thank you for sharing in the joint pain that everyone in crypto is feeling this week.
What else have they got to do? Because there's nothing else
you
going on.
could be
in the
watching your
market.
portfolio go down,
Yeah.
or you could be here hanging out with us.
Yeah, I think it's mental
an easy
health.
choice.
Come and see us. Yeah, why not?
Mate, we, after Dumptober, we thought November was going to be something special. It was not special.
Actually,
it's actually worse than Dumptober.
No, it could still be Moonvember, but I'm not sure if you know that meme where it's got like the Earth and then it's got the price chart and the moon's down here. And it's like, no, we're going to the moon, but the moon's actually like in Hades.
We promised you moon. We're going there.
Yeah, we're still heading that way.
Man, Bitcoin and Ethereum, can you believe? So Bitcoin down this week, 13.6% currently. In fact, that was at the time of publication. It's probably down even further. Not looking good, or a sea of red.
We've cracked $3,000 US on Ethereum. We've cracked 90K now on, thank you, Jared. We've cracked 90K on Bitcoin.
And we're down for the year now. We're down for the year. 2002, well, forget Moonvember. Like, we just need to see some positive results for 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
Year to date. So the October 10th flash crash doesn't seem so bad by comparison. Apparently, the markets have wiped off 1.2 trillion.
Yeah,
That's an incredible amount of volume in the last 42 days.
Yeah.
Well. You know what? But if you're here with us, like I said, we're having a good time. Jared's back as well, unlike the market. Hey, Jared, welcome back. How was your trip?
Yeah, not too bad. Came to back to this mess.
Yeah.
How about you? Things were better when you're on holiday, so maybe you need another holiday. Look, I could run through the numbers, but I think it's safe to say they're down. The, Fear and Greed Index, which a number I don't know what it means, and we've been through this 1,000 times. I don't know what it means. I'm not going to bother looking at it, but I know that number is very low.
Yeah,
right? We're down at 14, which is apparently just, things aren't, the sentiment's looking particularly bad.
And to be fair, I feel like the Fear and Greed Index, which for those who don't know how it works,
Me?
which is you, and this won't be the first time I've explained it to you either, but that's fine.
I'm not listening now.
Yeah, I'm immediately ejecting all the information that comes in. So it basically measures sentiment, essentially. So it looks at a whole bunch of different metrics across the market, including things like, positive or negative sentiment on Twitter or X, and all that kind of stuff. So it's sort of a real... Is it accurate? Who could say, but it's the best thing we have. The Fear and Greed sort of, this metric exists for non-crypto as well, like for the traditional markets as well. I feel like we're at 14 now, which is extreme fear, which makes sense. Sentiment is at all-time lows at the moment. But did we ever get to anywhere near 100? I feel like there was no exuberant. I think we've got, the highest I remember seeing it in is like the 70s. And 70 is like greed, or maybe even extreme greed, or at least high greed kind of numbers. But we're not, it was never like in the 90s, I don't think. I don't know. I should probably not say this stuff without looking it up first, but this goes off just my general memory. We haven't really had that real crazy time where the Zuckerbergs are releasing video clips and
I know,
like crazy stuff's happening. What were those two?
It could be over before Randy Zuckerberg even posts anything cringy.
I know, she's probably working on it right now. And she's like, I can't post this anymore. Do you remember those two boys? And they had like tats on their faces.
The Island Boys.
Yeah, the Island Boys. That's it. Yeah, we haven't had anything like that.
Oh,
we just.
What a boring bull run.
Anyway, it doesn't have to be over yet, but it's not looking good. Anyway, I'm wearing the sunnies this week. I've got the right shirt on. I'm just, obviously there's a bit of a wobble in the last week or two where
Jared's going to go back on holidays.
Yeah, it wasn't doing the right direction. No, we need Jared back. This is part of the redemption model.
Everything dumps as soon as I leave the country. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so let's get back to the original programming.
Hey, look, I'm not done with the bad news yet. All right, let me finish. let me wrap up the rest of the bad news because it's not just crypto, right? We've already seen dips before. We know that. But traditional markets, tech stocks, also gripped with fear.
Yes.
Confidence in the AI trade is petering out. Peter Thiel selling off loads of Nvidia. Wait, there's still bad news to come. September jobs data is concerns that maybe the US economy is not as in great shape as well. Yeah, but sentiment. Okay, so here's the one little good news from the
No,
wrap.
you know what? You can be like the Debbie Downer, and I can sort of do the opposite side. I feel.
Okay, that's
Like,
what you got the
how we do
glasses
that?
on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey guys, everything's cool. Yeah, no, yes, you were about to talk about.
Oh, yes, more horrible
sentiment data. No, you can talk about sentiment data. I'll let you have.
Oh, sentiment data has reported the 30-day MVRV, which you're going to explain, ratio for a number of the top coins is deeply negative, which again is historically the best time to buy.
Yeah, I always take these ones with a bit of grain of salt. Like, you know, the prices are so low. What else is there to do but buy? Like, it's sort of one of those self-fulfilling prophecy kind of things. I don't disagree. So this is the MVRV or MRVR, whatever it is, number basically measures how and it's using these Bitcoin on-chain metrics. So it's all very high level, not very specific. But the idea is it says, okay, this coin was moved when the price was X, and now it's being moved again, and the price is X minus 3, let's say, that coin, that's selling at a loss just because it's moving. And it sort of looks at, you know, what times coins were moved and what the price was at that time, and then those coins again when they were moved again, and kind of it measures this kind of stuff. So it's a technical, very technical, but it is still making very big assumptions that when a coin moves, that means it's changing hands. It's being sold from one person to another.
So it's kind of looking at the direction of the trade, the profit of the trade, and going, hey, look, we're taking away some sentiment based on.
Yeah, and it's sort of the idea here is that if people are selling coins when they're down, like this is, you know, people are taking losses right now. So usually when people capitulate in this fashion, it's kind of, you're forming some kind of bottom. Anyway, this is all very, there's like derivatives upon derivatives, if you know what I mean. Like we're making a lot of assumptions here to come to these conclusions. But
yeah, right.
And in the past it has proven true. So this would suggest that, you know, we're kind of forming a bottom and it's going to bounce here. How high it will bounce, who knows? But, you know, when people start capitulating and going, you know what, I've entered into this trade and I really made a big mistake and I'm just got to get out. Yeah, it's usually kind of things can go better from there, maybe. You know,
Yeah, well, look, if there is going to be such a thing as a super cycle, it's, you know, it is, the super cycle is got a flat tire, it's conking out, you know what I mean? Because it seems to be, and this is a vibe check, but there seems to be that a lot of people and the sentiment just from a, you know, like a just pulling feels out of the air kind of sense is sort of saying, well, you know, traditionally the 4-year cycle has ended now and everyone's like, we'll just park it now, it ain't getting better. But our favorite guy, whenever I talk about Tom Lee, you know, from Funstrat, he's a permaball and I need some hope him right now. And he's talking up, well, look guys, this is just the beginning of the proper super cycle, which, you know,
This is like from now vibes.
From now.
It's like gets lower again. Okay, from now.
You know, we used to play handball as a kid. Like, you know, the game would start and everybody wasn't ready. So you used to have like there was one veto clause, which is I didn't say fair dinks. You know, like like the game starts now. Okay, everyone has to agree. Okay. Look. Yeah. Now we start, all right? And then you get kind of like a second start in case anyone sort of jump starts. So maybe Tom Lee's playing the old, it's all right, fair dinks.
Hey, did you know that in year 6, I was the handball champion of my whole school?
How many kids did you have to beat?
50 maybe?
Oh yeah, and actually what kind of, what was the setup? Did you have the line or did you have like the whole cube setup?
No, so it was a doubles game. So we played, so I had me and my partner and I like fully carried this guy the entire way. And it was just
he wasn't considered the joint champion, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess we both won it together, but like, everyone knows who won this thing. Yeah, and it was like 2 of us. It was 2 versus 2, basically, and there was just one line in the middle, and you both, I don't think you had to take turns. I think it was just, I mean, this is a long time ago now, but yeah.
Did you have...
That was kind of when I...
Did you have rules for dog shots? You know, the old flick?
No,
dog shots,
do whatever you want, as long as it bounced first on your side, and... So yeah, they're like where you sort of go like that. Yeah, that's right. I'll do it with the right hand. Yeah, you kind of like squirrel it down. Yeah, no, they were fully allowed. Like you couldn't do, you know, fools, which was where you hit it over the line.
Oh no, no one's allowed to do fools.
Yeah, and obviously, what was the other intos? Where someone walked across the court.
Oh, interference.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if kids do it this way. Definitely, handball still exists.
Oh, my son plays all the time. He loves it.
Okay.
Can't get enough of it.
I see it at my daughter's school, but Yeah.
Anyway, back to the bear market.
Come on, man. We just got out of this. Do we have to?
Well, I wanted
Actually, I wanted to do a public apology because a couple of weeks ago, I did say that prices couldn't possibly get any lower. And yeah, that was a bad call because prices are now 10% lower. Actually, more than 10%. It was the price.
We just got to pick a new psychological floor because it was 100K. So what are we now?
No, I don't think we use US dollars. I reckon we pick a new floor in a different currency.
So this thing, people are so basis orientated. You're quite right. So this psychological level, if it's a good investment at 100 grand, it's still a good investment at 90K. But like people are very basis orientated, and it doesn't make sense. But people are superstitious, and you know if it made sense before, it still makes sense now. But anyway, here we are.
It's like that meme.
If it didn't make sense before, it doesn't make sense now. We've got some.
Yeah, there's that meme where there's a picture of like the two doors, and it's Bitcoin at 90K, and there's like two people lined up, and Bitcoin at 150K, and it's like the entire population is lined up, and everyone's like, why didn't you buy it back then? You could, but yeah, people are just.
When I was in Bali, I searched for the Bitcoin price, and it said 1.5 trillion. Obviously, I was in the wrong currency, so that got me excited for a second.
Yeah, I'm rich. Yeah. Anyway,
there is some permeable stuff, and I'm sure Tom Lee would be an absolute handball fiend. I reckon he's like one of those guys. He probably still plays it, and he's probably still really good, and he just dominates. It'd be like that scene like from Dave Chappelle when he talks about the time he got absolutely towed up by Prince playing basketball because no one thought he could play. Tom Lee would be that in handball. I reckon he's the kind of guy he'd invite you around to his place and just absolutely dominate, just ruin your confidence playing handball. But in terms of what his opinions are on crypto, not handball. Tom, if you're listening, like maybe you can come show us some handball tips at some point. I don't know. He reckons, right, that this market has all the signs of actually an issue to do with a market maker or two having a major hole in their balance sheet. Now, this is interesting because we picked up on this a little while ago, and there was accusations being thrown around. Should I say? I just kind of said it. Anyway, there's been accusations. I don't know if they found it or not, but there's been accusations being thrown around that people have holes in their balance sheets. Well, it's all in. It's not. I'm not making it. You can look it up. I don't know why I was even pretending to be like, you just read about it, right? I just wanted to make sure I hadn't got the name wrong, is all.
That was brilliant. Yes, yeah. The whole.
There's a guy who was terrible at handball. His name was Nick. I mean, I won't say who.
Yeah. Gosh, should I say? Dude, you just said.
Wait, we just talked about it. Anyway, but you take it from here because apparently this is an interesting kind of hypothesis. Obviously, the market is just shit in the bed. We can point the finger at just sentiment and a whole bunch of things. But run us through this thing because there has been, I guess, some conjecture going on about potential market makers having these gaps, and of course, unfounded. I think it's fair to say at this point. But talk us through the story. Yeah,
so this all harks back to in Australia, it was the 11th of October, and in the US, they're all calling it the 10th of the 10th, the big liquidation event that happened. This was all sort of related to the perp decks, perpetual decks that we've been speaking of recently. So what is it? Hyperliquid, Asta, Lighter. These are kind of all these perpetual dexes that have been really popular recently. Anyway, a lot of people were using them. Huge amounts of open interest built up. People were longing their longs, and then stuff went bad, and everyone sort of kind of points at Binance for stuff going bad for this thing. Whether that's true or not, I won't say, but it does. A lot of things are pointing back to Binance. So there were suggestions that Binance were using some bad oracles, which caused liquidations to happen when they shouldn't have happened and stuff like that. And that just caused all this cascading stuff to happen in the market. And basically there were suggestions that a bunch of market makers were caught out by all this stuff. So market makers obviously sit there and hold positions and have open orders on order books to, create liquidity. And they're often contracted to do that. So it's sort of, they kind of have to show orders as part of their contract. They're getting paid to do it. This is their job. But when things go bad and they don't manage liquidity properly, or specifically, and again, I'm pointing at Binance, I'm sure it happened on other exchanges too, not Independent Reserve, of course. But the idea was that when things went really bad, and market makers would typically hedge their risk by immediately pulling orders. So this is again how liquidity crashes happen. But if you can't pull your orders because the API doesn't work, then they're stuck showing orders for prices that don't exist. People are going to hit those orders immediately, or just cascading liquidations will force the orders to be hit.
Yeah.
And they end up, doing a bunch of trades for prices that are bad for them. Yeah, and that's kind of the long and short of it. So we don't know for sure. Obviously, there was one protocol that, or one sort of DeFi platform that kind of owned up and said, yeah, we lost I can't remember what the number was, 80 or 90 mil or something like that.
Balancer or whatever it was.
No, not Balancer. That was a hack. This was something else where they had some kind of fund manager and some kind of separate third party fund manager. I think we spoke about it last week, and basically they just said, yeah, we lost this money due to some bad this and that, and so they kind of fell in the hole. No actual market makers have put their hands up and said, yeah, we're in trouble.
There was a few accusations being thrown around though, wasn't there?
Yeah. So yes, you're right. So Wintermute people are sort of concerned about Wintermute, but there's others as well. People are concerned about. As you say, is it unfounded? Yeah. There's no evidence. No one's kind of said anything's wrong. As far as I'm aware, all of the these market makers are still operating and still providing markets on exchanges. So it seems like things are okay. But having said that, there does seem to be a massive reduction in just general liquidity, which is contributing to these price issues where prices can just be pushed around much more easily. Whereas previously, if market makers are providing deep markets, people can they can sell 10 million bucks worth of Bitcoin or whatever, and it'll just get absorbed. But if the market makers are going, you know what, instead of showing 10 million, we're going to show 1 million, then the price just gets moved much more easily.
Yeah.
And so it's they haven't stopped trading, but possibly there are consequences, and maybe it's because of holes in balance sheets. Who knows?
All right. Well, we'll probably have to follow that one. I feel like these kind of things get thrown around and take some time to really be shown to be one way or the other.
Yeah, I think everyone's still got a lot of PTSD about 3RS Capital. So back in last cycle, 3RS Capital were this huge player. They were so loud. They were always these permabulls. Who's the guy? Suzu was constantly. He kind of invented the idea of the Supercycle, right? The Supercycle. Turns out
the Supercycle. There's some cringy pig shit, isn't there?
Yeah, there's some cringy stuff there. That guy was always quoting, Sun Taoising and various various philosophers around of the ages and talking, trying to relate it back to crypto and whatever.
And probably noteworthy, he ended up in jail.
He did, yes. He spent some time in Singapore jail, and then I don't know. To my dismay, he kind of, as soon as he got out, continued to post this cringy stuff. But anyway, I think there is some PTSD over that stuff. So when 3RS Capital, it was discovered that their pants were down and the emperor wasn't wearing any clothes, and that created this cascading thing, which kind of culminated in FTX going down, right? It's sort of the end result of this was one of the biggest cascading issues in our industry. I think people are worried about that. If it were, and I'm absolutely not saying this is true. I don't. As far as I know, it isn't true. But if it turns out that something like Wintermute, who was a huge player in the scene, if it turns out that they end up folding, people are worried that something similar is going to happen, and it's going to be this domino effect where, Wintermute fall over, and next minute, Binance are now insolvent or something.
Yeah.
And it's just bad. It's just bad news. So
it's bad. Yeah.
At this stage, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we need to worry specifically about that stuff, but everyone's just very nervous, and a lot of market makers are, reining it in a bit, not providing as much liquidity as previously they might have. Yeah, and on top of the fact, so yes, thank you, Bitcoin Radio KBTC. You're right. We have spoken about the 4-year cycle previously. You say it has completed a month ago. That's not technically true. So, as we've spoken before, these kind of cycle theory is measured from the lows. So, the low isn't in yet. I hope it is in yet. That'd be nice. But no, the low is kind of due in sometime next year, I think, mid to late next year maybe. So, we've still got time. There's still technically time for Bitcoin to rise up and do a right translated, cycle and we can pump. And another interesting stat I saw recently actually about this stuff. So this is like of this kind of bull market phase of the cycle. This is the third major drawdown we've had. And of the 3 drawdowns, this is the smallest.
Really?
Would you believe?
Yeah.
So it just really goes to show that it's while it's still a big drawdown, like it's in the range of 30%. The other ones have been slightly bigger thus far. Obviously, we've still got room to move.
We've still got time to go down.
The prices, yeah. I'm not going to make the same mistake again and say prices cannot get any lower. But it's this is a drawdown of same magnitude of the previous drawdowns in this bull market phase. It is a smaller one, but really what's happening is like sentiment is just cooked, right? People and everyone I've kind of spoken to about this, everyone's the reaction is the same as yours, where they're like, "What, really?" And it's just to show that like people, it just doesn't seem like the market is like, it seems like the market is worse than it's ever been, kind of thing. The reality is we're kind of
I mean, every cycle is kind of marked by multiple 30% drawdowns. It's not like you do get 30% drawdowns in every cycle. In fact, multiple 30% drawdowns in every cycle. And that has been historically the case. And whether this is the end of it, I guess the only thing I'd probably add on that is in every previous cycle, we have seen probably more, during the peak of price action wise, we've seen bigger run-ups.
Yes.
Right? Seen much more bigger run-ups. And if you just had followed previous cycles, we would have expected to see a much larger run-up before we saw.
Agree. And a 30% decline in this part of the cycle is not good news generally.
No.
Like, again, cycles, can be different and they're not always going to follow the same thing, and everyone, this time's different, blah, blah, blah. But you don't really want to have a 30% decline at this point in the cycle. Having said that, it's not impossible for things to still look good in the next couple of months, the next few months. But it's
Yeah. And so maybe it has expired. Look, I don't have a crystal ball. I have no idea. I feel like though if the run up has been super subdued, you kind of think that then the blow off would be kind of subdued as well. Do you know what I mean? And so we didn't get a nice exponential pump, but then again, we might not get a full 80% sort of blow up either.
Yeah.
So
look,
I don't know. I'm purely speculating here. One person who doesn't care anyway is Michael Saylor. Because there was rumors getting around this week that he had actually sold like 50,000 or close to 50,000 Bitcoin, and in fact the opposite was true. He'd bought 8,000.
Yeah, he was.
But you know how these markets work. There's always some rumor getting around,
and there's money to be made if people can drive a narrative, right? So, of course, people saw the 47,000. Doesn't matter what was happening. People are going to put their shorts on and send out some news to the market, going, "Look at this, credible proof."
Yeah. Nevertheless, so strategy has been. I think it dropped below 1 for its NAV.
Yeah.
That's actually also a bit concerning as well.
I did want to talk about that
just in case we didn't have enough bad news.
Yeah. I mean, I did want to talk about that as well.
We can dig around for some more bad news if you really want. But
the article actually talks about the NAV being below 1, which is not true. So I thought, crap. I thought what might be interesting. Sorry.
You know what?
I thought what might be interesting is me dropping my phone.
Yeah.
No, I thought what might be interesting is we can kind of talk about like MNAV and NAV. So it's a kind of a term that's thrown around a lot, especially when we're relating to strategy and all these treasury companies. So the article talks about the NAV going below 1. That's absolutely not true. NAV stands for net asset value. If the net asset value went below $1, we've got problems. No, the net asset value is like $58 billion or something like that. Like it's a big number. MNAV is the one that's gone below 1. Right. So MNAV is
it's the moving.
No, MNAV is the market is the market NAV, market asset NAV. So basically, you divide it by the market cap of the company, and so in these like Bitcoin treasury companies, generally because all they kind of do is own Bitcoin, right? Like that's their value prop. The amount of Bitcoin is usually the cost of the share, like divided by the amount of shares that are out there. So as the amount of Bitcoins that the company owns goes up, the share price kind of goes up in tandem. They're both in lockstep.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
And so when you look at an MNAV of value 1, that means that the market cap of the share price on the stock market is equal to the amount of Bitcoin at the market value of Bitcoin at that time. So they're kind of exactly 1. Historically, MicroStrategy has always been above 1, which means people are buying the shares more, so the price of the shares have gone up higher than what the value of the Bitcoin that actually underlies the business is.
Yeah, right.
Now, it's not truly fair for Strategy, because Strategy does have a software company as well that does stuff that generates value and whatever. But, you know, the Bitcoin sort of like they are very famously a Bitcoin treasury company that is, you know, what everyone knows them for. So I think like the vast majority of their value comes from people understanding how much Bitcoin they hold. And for the first time in a while, their MNAV has gone below 1, which means they have more Bitcoin. The value of their Bitcoin is worth more than what their share price is. Now, why is this? Multiple different reasons, I suppose. Mainly sellers exceed buyers. So share price goes down. Why is that? Everyone's scared. You know, sentiment's at rock bottom. People are just getting out of this share. And for me, this is like a fundamental kind of issue where you look at, okay, so the value of their people are predicting that Bitcoin price is going to go even lower, right? So they're going to go, look, I'm going to get out before it gets lower. But the fact is, the company now has more Bitcoin on it than the market value of the shares. Like that sounds like value to me.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously you got to make assumptions around where the Bitcoin price is going to go in the future. But like if you're buying a company where the market value of the shares is less than what the underlying value of the company is, which is, you know, in this case, we're just looking at the Bitcoin holdings. Seems pretty good to me. But anyway, it is an interesting sort of point in the history of this company that finally, after all these years, even in the previous drawdowns where everyone was, you know, there's all these news articles going around about how Bitcoin price is too low and Saylor's going to have to sell. He's going to be a forced seller and going to get liquidated and whatever. Even back then, the MNAV was above 1.
Yeah.
And so now here we are in this situation where MNAV has actually cracked 1. We'll see what happens, but I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see, like everyone else. I mean, certainly, if you just kind of looked at it on the face value and said, if we just apply the 4-year cycle, things aren't looking great. But I guess if we just kind of take back and go, look, fundamentally, the value proposition and the distribution of Bitcoin amongst, you know, in markets has never been better. Never been more diversified in terms of who's buying and all this kind of stuff. You kind of have to look at it and go, well, it's dare I say,
go on, make your prediction. Supercycle.
It's supercycle or bust. Like if it's just a traditional cycle and psychology purely rules all, and this 4-year cycle psychology is too ingrained in the market dynamics, hey, look, we probably have to cool off a bit before it takes off again for a period of time. Or, as Sun Tzu likes to call it, the super cycle is upon us.
Sun Tzu.
Or Tom Lee. And look, Tom Lee. And look, this time it's not just Suzu who's like claiming the super cycle. Tom Lee, who has been, he's made a number of great calls, is also, I mean, he's a permabull, so take that with a grain of salt as well, but he is also an advocate of this cycle being different. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be tough. I really actually feel for Tom Lee because he has 100% put his money where his mouth is, right? Like famously, publicly talking about how good Ethereum is, and it just sounds so bad right now, which is funny. Like this is, you know, Ethereum's kind of reverting to the mean at this point, right? For so long, Ethereum was a real, like everyone's just kicking it while it was down. It was always so low, you know. So I saw a stat the other day, or it was this morning. Apparently, the DAT, like the treasury companies, the Ethereum treasury companies combined, own sort of just under 11% of the entire Ethereum supply. That's huge, right? Yeah. 11% is owned by the treasury companies, and yet Ethereum can't make all-time highs. Like, how? Yeah, that's just a tough hill to surmount, right? You can't, you know, you've put everything into it. You've done so well, and the price just stays down because. I don't know. Is Ethereum Foundation selling again? They're always selling. Why?
Well, you know, what it feels like to me is that, you know, that great meme. So crypto has always been like the new thing. So look at Bitcoin or Ethereum. They've been that kind of new play toy that's been around. You know the meme where there's like the lady and she's like playing with the baby while one of her kids are drowning, and then there's like
in the pool,
the skeleton below.
Yes.
Like, unfortunately, crypto and Bitcoin are those ones. You know, they're either the kid that's drowning or the not quite the skeleton yet, because that's probably the TradFi stuff, right? But the kid that's drowning is definitely crypto, and then the baby up there is, you know, AI, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so, you know,
yeah, we're about to get the name just for those who haven't seen it. It's good.
throw it in there. I don't think we can type it up there, but yeah, you can see, you can tell who AI is. There's definitely Ethereum down there.
Yeah, Ethereum is
At the
sitting
very
there.
least, that's Ethereum
Yeah.
drowning. Actually, Ethereum is probably the bottom.
I feel
Bitcoin.
like at the moment for me, like AI is actually like there's a lot of, uncertainty about AI at the moment. But the little kid who's getting all the attention is Zcash. Like that thing is just going crazy, and this is a good pivot. We can talk about Zcash.
Yeah, let's do Zcash. Because it is making a triumphant return.
It is incredible for this absolute dino coin. I remember like people laughing at it, and because everyone was like, "Why would you use Zcash? You got Monero," and then some like the head of Zcash, this guy called Zuko, who's just always around, but he never seemed like an alpha to me. I don't know. I'm not doing I'm doing him an injustice.
Throw the
here,
price chart up there for Zcash.
Yeah, let's have a look. It's just and just do like the last month if you can. Maybe not all time. Is it okay? Can you maybe spread it maybe a bit longer then? Oh, even that's pretty impressive. Yeah. So Zcash is a privacy protocol. For those who don't know, it's very similar to Monero. And there's been a lot of, like, if you sort of follow old school Twitter people, a lot of people love to talk about Zcash and about how it was their main bag and blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the price back then, it was just so low and flat. Like nothing ever happened, nothing ever. And so, and then I guess like maybe a month ago, just things changed. So there was apparently, and I'm unaware of this completely, but this is what we're reporting on. A group of Solana rotators, so like this is like Solana trading people, have decided. There we go. This is the price chart. So $618 is crazy. Like what was the price at the start of that chart, Jared? Can you see on there? It's like 200 and something. And can you just zoom out to a bit more, like maybe the last 6 months? Yeah, look at that.
Wow,
That's
look
the
at
chart
that.
we want.
That's the chart.
So
$30.
yeah, so it's been $30 for like 4 years, and now it's at $618. It's just crazy. It's gone absolutely nuts. There's a bunch of people, like, I don't know if you follow Gainsey. Gainsey's this like very controversial sort of Twitter character, and he's been shilling Zcash for literally years. And I've just ignored it because I'm assuming it's some kind of meme. I didn't think he was actually serious. Anyway, now it's just like he's loving life at the moment because it's just doing so well. So Zcash is a privacy coin. The idea is you can send transactions, and even though there's a blockchain explorer, you can't actually verify where transactions have come from, or if you're looking at the source, you can't see where they've gone to. So it's an interesting idea if you're looking for privacy on chain. Monero is another example of this. Independent Reserve doesn't list either of these, and most, I'm going to say, regulated exchanges don't either. It's very difficult to get the idea of a privacy coin where you can't do any kind of on-chain forensics through the regulators, if that makes sense. So you won't find these listed on many exchanges, but I think like a lot of the ways other exchanges might get around it is sort of doing like listing perpetuals and things where you like a non-physical version of the crypto
Just
where you
on the
can't
price.
actually withdraw it or deposit it. You're just speculating on the price. And to get back to the Solana thing, which I found kind of interesting. So there's a group of these Solana people who apparently coordinated to pump the price of Zcash. And that's kind of what's happened. And now it's just taken on a life of its own and gone absolutely bananas.
Well, Vitalik has been harping about privacy lately. So
Yeah.
I worked for another privacy coin, Coty, and they pumped 60% in a week.
Recently?
Very recently, in the last 2 or 3 weeks. They've come back down to almost nothing, but yeah.
Yeah, so there are a lot of the other privacy coins, specifically like the zero knowledge proof coins, have been doing pretty well. One of the things that people are one of the keystones that people are trying to sort of talk about is the idea that these coins are quantum resistant. So, which is important. It's going to become important, I think. So being quantum resistant, the idea is like when quantum computers become a big thing and they can start cracking cryptography, if your coin is quantum resistant, it means you're kind of safe from that. Zcash isn't quantum resistant. It's further down the path than a lot of coins, and so it's I can see why people are kind of peddling this narrative, but they've still got work to do. Like, and it's a big deal, if you believe that quantum computing is on the doorstep. I don't think it is yet, but it's something we'll need to think about in other cryptos as well soon. So what else to say about Zcash? It's
doing well.
It's doing really well. We'll see how it goes, but.
Well, if all this doom and gloom is, actually Zcash hasn't been doom and gloom. It's been a little bright spot, but I guess not everyone was bags full of it. So
yeah, it's hard to trade. It's not super easy to trade. So
tough one. But look, some bright spots this weekend. I think the mood will be fine because everyone's out for a good time. CryptoCon is on this weekend.
Yeah.
That's this coming Saturday, 22nd, 23rd. Importantly, there is the opening party, which actually we're full. So last week I said I was going to invite people. I can't invite anyone because we're over capacity.
Yeah, cool.
So if you haven't got your tickets, I'm sorry. We'll try and sneak you in somehow. I don't know, can't promise you, but we are that should be an awesome opening night. I'm looking forward to it. But nonetheless, you can still. We've actually got a promo code, so we're one of the major sponsors. So if you are still thinking of making it along for the weekend, promo code IR. As I discussed last week, that's just the letter I, letter R, not just some weird spelling of I and R. It's not EYEARE. Don't do that, that'd be retarded. But it is IR. 10% tickets off. That's the plug I was supposed to give. Jared said, hey, why don't you give a plug? So now I've done that. Job done. Thanks, Dennis, our marketing manager. I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah, so we'll both be there for periods of all the time, so you can come along. Say hello.
Yeah, way more fun. We're going to set up Jared and we're going to set up the studio, and we're going to do some recording from it. So we're going to have people come along and have a chat to us.
Yeah, so
anyone and everyone.
We'll have a live studio set up at CryptoCon, streaming for most of the event, hopefully. So when you guys get tired of talking to each other, make sure you pop along and have a chat. You can maybe come on the stream. We'll pre-screen you first to make sure you're not a terrorist. So yeah.
How much ZEC do you own? All right.
There's going to be some people walking the crowd. Jared got a little bit excited because apparently the strategy CEO is going to be there, who is not Michael Saylor. He's the chairman. I don't think Michael might be. I don't know. Maybe he's going to jump in and have a chat to everyone online. But Fong Li, I think, is the CEO. He's going to be walking out there, walking the crowd amongst the people. It'd be nice to have a few people come along and have a chat directly, hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Yeah.
Of what's happening.
Yep.
Anyway. CryptoCon, it's going to be awesome. Come and check it out. Definitely get along. They are expecting, when I was talking to the guys, I think they had 10,000 or something attendees last year. I think this year they're looking at maybe double that, which would be huge. It'd be a huge weekend. Just a shame the sentiment will suck, but parties are still going to be fun.
Well, price could pump in the next 3 days.
As we know, it's a fickle market. Things could turn very quickly.
We're having a bit of discussion in the comments between a couple guys. What are you guys' thoughts on quantum computing and its effect on certain chains? Are we ready? Are we not ready? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's a lot of people have been talking about this hangover threat for a long time. My personal thoughts are if quantum computing got to a point where it was viable for this kind of stuff, we would have more problems. Crypto would just be a drop in the ocean compared to the other problems that we'd probably have.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. In terms of, I think it's prudent to get ready. So I think at the moment, actually, this is a good segue. At the moment, Bitcoin is obviously the biggest crypto. We need to make sure it's as good as possible, being ready for quantum threats, quantum computing, being able to crack the cyclical. What are they called? I lost it. Anyway, the encryption essentially. Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff going on in Bitcoin at the moment, which is really taking the mind share away from probably the more important things. So one of the things I read, for those of you who are sort of deep in the Bitcoin stuff, you'll know that there's two kind of nodes you can run at the moment. One is the Bitcoin core node, which sort of 99.9% of people run. And one is this node called Bitcoin Knots, I think it's called, or Knots anyway, KNOTS. And that's a node, a bit of node software that was created by a guy called Luke Dash Jr. He was one of the core developers, or was one of the core developers. I can't remember if he still is. Anyway, he's a big figure in Bitcoin. He's been around for many, many years. Famously lost hundreds of his own personal Bitcoin to some hack and then asked for people to donate to him, I think, which is bit funny. But anyway, he's a very controversial character. If you want to read more about him, just search for Luke Dash Jr. eating cats and dogs, and you'll see some interesting stuff. Yeah, so he's written this other a Bitcoin node for people to run if they want to like validate blocks and all that kind of stuff. But one of the big things about this node, this bit of software, the NOT software, is that it supposedly filters out the spam, which is like the people putting JPEGs, ordinals, like the Taproot wizards, which we love, on the blockchain, and it's really pivoted to be this whole like anti-spam kind of Bitcoin software. Anyway, there's so the guys who do all these these what are they called, ordinals and JPEGs on chain, they've invented a new protocol where you specifically use the Bitcoin NOTs node software to replicate JPEGs on the blockchain, and their point is that this attempt at filtering out the JPEGs is a fool's errand. Like it's just pointless. Like there's 3,000 ways of doing it, and you're filtering one of them. It's like,
it's like
okay,
there's a fence in the middle of a field.
Yeah, literally. It's like, and the door's there. And the door's closed, we can't go through.
Sorry,
like, why don't we just go around? Yeah.
You never work
so
this out.
it's laughable how pointless their attempt at blocking these things on chain, 'cause it's just 100 different ways of doing it. But anyway, I thought it was really funny that they went out of their way, spent time to build this thing when they could have just done it. They could have just ignored the client altogether, but they're like, no, we're going to show this guy how stupid he is.
Your lessons need to be learned.
Yeah, that's right. And they built us one specifically for Bitcoin, and they called it like Nazi or something, like as a play of Nazis, like Bitcoin Nazi, something like that. Anyway, I don't know the exact details, but I thought I did giggle to myself when I read about this one.
See, people have still got a sense of humor.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the memes are what carries this industry, right? Like everything is just done with a sense of humor, and honestly, like when the bear market hits, that's when the memes get really good.
Oh yeah, they
like some of them are so good. Anyway, we'll wait and see. We should keep an eye out for our favorite memes and maybe post them up.
Yeah. No one self-flagellates like the crypto industry.
That's so true.
So back to, we were talking about the AI thing. I do like it though that a lot of people say, well, hey, what happens when what happens when quantum computing comes out? It's like there's assumption the first thing they go after will be Bitcoin. It's like, what about NASA? First of all, I'd hack NASA. The US government for a bunch of stuff. The CIA, I'd hack them. You know what I mean? Every bank in the world. So, there's probably a pecking order of things that probably will get attacked before Bitcoin, is my assumption. Look, maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, it'll be bad for everything.
And also, who controls it? Who controls this quantum computer?
Computer? Yes, exactly. It's not like it's going to be democratized and people are running it on their home computers.
And if I'm like Kim Jong-un and I've just got myself my hands on a quantum computer, like who am I going after first?
Yeah.
Like that's a good question. Like who would?
I don't know. He's probably going to like hack Lindsay Lohan's phone or something. I don't know. That was he's gonna I think he's gonna do a couple of things first. But no, I think the real issue here is that probably not necessarily people's wallets will actually get hacked, but it's probably more along the lines of the idea is out there and markets are just gonna tank. People are just gonna front run this and go, I am out. Like this is too dangerous, too risky. Yeah.
Hey, someone asked a question before. So I think thank you, Russell 2496. Asked the question and said, what is IR going to do for the next 12 months when Bitcoin slow dumps to 60K? It's a great question. When?
I like the confidence there.
Yeah.
When, not if.
Well,
when.
First of all, I guess the couple of things to keep in mind for an exchange, the price is irrelevant. It's the turnover that kind of keeps businesses like volatility products like us in business. But the other thing as well, that from an exchange point of view, that it's probably less obvious to people who are just using it to trade and get in and out of crypto, is that the biggest growth spot, I guess, in that industry as a BAU strategy has been the role that exchanges play when it comes to on-off ramping through not just Australia but in Asia and a lot of jurisdictions, moving money internationally. There are a lot of businesses out there right now that aren't necessarily crypto businesses per se. It's not like they're a Web3 business. It's not like they are just there to trade and go, get $1 million worth of USDT and just throw it all onto, Bybit and whatever, right? But just businesses that use crypto as a more efficient way of moving money internationally.
Yeah.
And that business didn't really exist in 2021, but by the end of 2022, it had come on and has only ever grown since. So now we fast forward to 2025, and that business segment, as far as the crypto business is concerned, has grown exponentially.
Yeah.
Which keeps and they trade regardless of market conditions because it's part of their BAU strategy. So I think the level of diversification as to who's trading crypto and who's using exchanges has developed substantially, even within the last sort of 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, definitely. This is like the diversification of our product lines is something that, you know, when markets are down, this is when we'd have time to build kind of thing. And so we build out these kind of product lines. If this sounds interesting to you, by the way, please reach out. You know, we've got there's a lot of things. We don't just do crypto trading on an exchange these days. Like our OTC desk facilitates all sorts of different things. But yeah, usually, obviously, it's all crypto related, and a lot of companies are just discovering that it's much more efficient to use crypto rails than it is to use Swift, for example.
Yeah. Their businesses, for example, is just one example, and there's multiple people who have operations that they pay their staff overseas. For example, you want to send money to the Philippines. It's just easy to send them, and they accept. There's a lot of people, a lot of who globally have global workforces. Instead of going through a bank and finding some obscure currency, you can just send them crypto.
Obscure currency. They're like, hey, that's my main currency. Yeah.
Like you live in Mauritius, like you don't want wizards. Because I don't know what the real currency there was, but what I mean? They would rather US dollars, but for sending them US dollars is USDT is a great proxy for sending them US dollars, which is a currency they actually want to get paid in. And these businesses are coming online more and more and more. So we're facilitating more of a business strategy, I guess, fulfilling a business function as opposed to just trading for trading's sake.
But if it is sorry, Jared.
I was just going to say the tattoo parlor I visited in Bali accepted Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT. So
there you go.
Yeah.
in a small village.
Did you pay? Is that what you paid?
No, I sold everything.
Oh man.
Jared did get some impressive artwork on his arm, so they did a good job too.
Yeah. Well, imagine how good it would have been if you paid in crypto, though. Wouldn't you glow in the dark and whatever? Anyway, I think also speaking for Independent Reserve specifically, and I've been here through a couple of bear cycles now. The company is very risk adverse, so we're not and we've seen other sort of related companies in the industry, in the local industry, who, when the good times roll, they're hiring hundreds of people. They've got, multiple baristas organizing things, and those are just a simple example. But it's one of these things where we haven't done that at all. We've purposefully kept our team as small as possible because crypto is so cyclical, it's so seasonal that we know, when good times roll, great, but the bad times will come as well, and we need to make sure that we can weather all of those things. So we go through these cycles and absolutely minimize the impact to our staff and have zero impact really for 99% of the time. And so if this is the next bear market, if it's happened for Independent Reserve, it doesn't mean anything. It's business as usual. If the activity slows down, that's great. We'll use that time to build. We'll start building the next wave of products and features and functionality, and make sure we're ready for the next bull market.
Absolutely.
Zelly is adding USDC. What does that mean?
I'm pretty sure Zelly is a kind of like a cash app in the US.
Oh, okay.
So you can now do crypto peer-to-peer through the Zelle network.
Cool. Yeah, seeing a lot of these integrations, and I think that we can probably, there's a one of our topics talks about that kind of stuff, possibly. It was the the Singapore stablecoin topic. So I wanted to, I think that's kind of related in that Singapore have come out with this idea that they want to really regulate stablecoins, and it's something they've been working on for a while now. It's not sort of, when I was reading it, I was wondering if it was in reaction to the US stuff, but it's not, as far as I can tell. It seems to have been coming for a while. But they want to kind of really sort of regulate or specifically talk about regulated stablecoins versus unregulated stablecoins. The unregulated ones are the ones that might be like algorithmic stablecoins, the ones that are less backed.
Like Terra Luna.
Yeah, sure, like Terra Luna. But I guess the more regulated ones would be, I'm going to assume, like something like USDC, like we mentioned before. And the idea there is that if you are a regulated stablecoin, you just get more access to the system. So you're sort of allowed to, you're kind of treated more like e-money, which is a very specific term in the Singapore regulations. And you can do things like, like this is LE thing. You can get used as payment rails. You can get, built. You can have credit card rails built around you. You can like all these different. Like the doors are open for you basically. Because I think everyone's starting to realize stablecoins are here to stay. And I like what Singapore are doing here. They're kind of they are creating like a two-class system, I suppose. But I think it's important, and people need to have confidence in the banking rails. And if all these sort of bank or financial institutions are going to start using crypto underneath, and they decide to use Terra Luna, for example, and then it goes to zero. Like, imagine that people would just look absolutely stupid. The people have decided to let this thing happen. Yep. So they're trying to create a real solid, regulated, legislated way to make sure that people don't get wrecked. And obviously these regulated stable coins have all of these hoops that they've got to jump through to achieve this status. I think it's
look, Australia's joining the party too. For those who don't know, there are a number now of Australian dollar stablecoin projects which are now about. Well, they've been live for a while, but they're about to kind of go live-er.
Yeah. Yeah, so
that makes sense.
ASIC have created this like regulatory sort of sandbox where people can, have a go at this thing once they get the tick of approval. I think that's cool. I guess talking about that, it might be worth sort of talking about. So we've got a deploy coming up on the 30th, so in I think just under 2 weeks. And as part of that, we're planning on listing one of those stable coins. So
how much can we talk about just yet of it?
Well, I mean, I think I don't know.
Well, let's wait until we're
confirmed. So anyway, maybe next week we'll talk about it more. But
in the meantime, we can digress back into your handball career, which sound budding.
Oh yes.
You reckon, Jared? How did you go in the handball? No, it wasn't your thing.
I was rotated out of dunce.
King of the court. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely peaked in year 6 when that thing happened. I was like, that's it, I've achieved my goals. And I think I probably continued to play in year 7 and 8 and but then maybe I don't know, probably discovered girls or something.
Did you walk around with an air of confidence and everyone's like, people just, when you showed up, everyone was just kind of like feel deflated because like, Nick's here.
Actually, we
were just playing for second place.
We had a non-standard handball court. So we had a diamond shape and it had a triangle at the top, 2 kind of weirdly squared shapes below, and then a diamond at the bottom. So you could hit ace from dunce, and everyone was always facing ace, so it was always pressure on the ace.
And was this like just an accidental court, or was it designed specifically like that?
I think we just chalked it up. I
was going to say, like, did you just find it it was just formed naturally in nature kind of thing? Yeah. I don't think we had any. So back in my day, we didn't have actual handball courts. It was just like this long pathway that people were supposed to use for walking.
Yeah,
we just kind of drew a bit of chalk, or maybe there was some different, like the bricks went all this way, and then suddenly some of the bricks went that way, and we used that as the line.
Yeah, that's what I always thought. That's like it was kind of every home court was a little bit nuanced, like cricket pitches where everything was just kind of like everyone had. Just depending on whoever was the designer, and the concrete slab that got put into your quad was what you had to play with.
Yeah. Whereas I don't know, my daughter's school, like they've actually spray painted, real courts there, and there's like, it's specifically designed.
No idiosyncrasy.
Yeah, it's probably to a standard, the Australian handball standard, which I wasn't consulted on, which is total bullshit because obviously,
as the 1997 champion.
Yeah. What year would it have been? No, much earlier than that. 1992, maybe, or 3.
Is it an Australian thing? I feel like every high school. Kevin Rudd even got involved in it. Remember Kevin Rudd he went to a high school? Like,
I don't remember.
I love it how there's always some Australian Prime Minister, and they have just got some embarrassing clip. Everyone's seen the John Howard Bowl. There was ScoMo bowling over like a kid playing footy.
Yes, that's
Kevin Rudd tried to play handball.
His foot is on the line. That's clearly out.
Yeah, that's also off out.
Is he hitting it with the back of his hand?
It's a dog shot.
Yeah. Is that a dog shot?
Yep.
Okay.
It's weird.
You know what I mean?
It's a flick of the wrist.
I haven't seen Albanese's try his hand thing. There was him wearing a Joy Division, so showing his cool side and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think I've seen him try and do the, You know what I mean? Like every politician looks a little bit out of place at the pub. They also look a little bit out of place in any sporting field. I guess that's, you know.
Yeah, what's Albanese done? That's a good point. Hey, is that Albanese with a picture of Duncan?
What?
See there? That one there? Yeah, that one.
And that's Todd Payton.
Oh, okay. Right.
Sorry, we're looking at things you guys can't see.
Yeah, this is really bad.
You know what?
Podcasting. Anyway, let's
seeing as you've raised Todd Payton, I personally know Todd Payton. He grew up in the same town as I did.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Todd definitely doesn't
Who
live.
is Todd Payton? Sorry.
He's a former NRL player. He's now the coach of the Queensland Cowboys, and he's a lovely guy. He looks tough, but he's one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet. I don't know how we got into Todd Payton, but Todd Payton is from Temora. He was a couple of years above me. There we go. Pull him up on screen. Todd, I hope he's watching because Todd's a great guy.
It's definitely not
He
a guy called Duncan
some
who
random
works in our
fact.
office.
Here we go. Now here's a guy who can play sport. He played for the Australian Schoolboys, and he was a bit of a local. He's a local legend, one of Temora's finest exports. Which funnily enough, Todd is a couple of years older than me. He was much better at football than I was. But he was, a random fact for any Cowboys fans out there who may be listening, he was the local school, not school, obviously he went to school. He was the newspaper delivery boy.
Oh, okay.
So he got around. Lovely guy. And whenever you went, we always used to bump into him. Occasionally I'd bump into him because he played for the Raiders when I lived in Canberra for a while. Bumped into him a couple of times in Sydney before he moved up to Queensland. And even though he was a big superstar, being the tremendous bloke that he is, he would always come up to you and make you feel special and be like, hey, he would introduce you to all his rugby league mates and go, this is Lee from Temora. One of Temora's finest exports was his famous line, which I think that's his back. Lovely bloke. Anyway.
Which really, that was him. He was referring to himself.
He was, yeah, exactly. Anyway, there's a little tidbit about Todd Payton. I don't know how we got into it because we had found a random photo, which somehow you confused him with a guy who at work, and the only thing they have in common is they're both bald. But nice pickup, but also completely inadvertent segue into me telling you a random story about Todd Payton and being a genuine top bloke. Anyway.
I feel like you've been sitting on that one. You're like, I can't wait to just integrate Todd Payton into my speech somehow.
There you go, Todd. I hope you're listening.
All right, what's next?
What is next? All right.
Um,
I'm surprised. You know what? We've had a bunch of people hang around because I'm kind of surprised, to be honest, because with the markets in the state they are.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, guys.
And yeah, keep the chats coming. We love answering your questions or pretending we know how to answer them. Jared, you're chatting with everyone online, I assume, on the line. Yeah, cool. All right.
Well, we do have a couple of little things to go. And I know we have to wrap up fairly soon because we need to save our voices for this weekend for everyone to come down to the crypto conference and say hello and jump on a live stream. Get your mug up on internet. Will be good. Get your mug up on the internet. If you're Todd Payton, even better.
Yes.
I mean, you've already had your mug up on the internet, but, come do it with us. Last article. Battling today. Man, it's been an emotional day because all we've done is go, you know what, everyone here loves to see Bitcoin price going up. And look, a bit of volatility in Bitcoin. People forgotten this is crypto.
Yeah.
Like volatility, have we gotten so accustomed to the lack of volatility that the first time we see a little bit of a 30% drop in, we're all like losing our minds. Toughen up, people.
Yeah. This is what we need, though. We need the cleansing. We need the sentiment reset. I spoke last week about how, open interest was still elevated. I think that's come down a bit now, thank God. This is kind of what we need it's such a risky thing to say, but if we're going to do any kind of positive price action, we need these are the ingredients we need to go up the next leg. I mean, there is there's positive news, right? So the government shutdowns finally ended. It ended the day after our last moonshot on Wednesday last week. Now the government can start spending again, right? This is, you need this kind of stuff for the liquidity injection. We've, people talking about a rate cut. It really depends on the numbers we get from the BLS. Interesting stat I saw recently. So apparently since February, the BLS, so the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the US, has dropped in employee headcount by 25%.
Okay.
And there is something like a third of leadership team headcount is unaccounted for, as in they're trying to fill it. So there's just not many people who are working there at the moment. And so they're really struggling to get all of their numbers and data together to feed into the government and the Fed. We need that kind of data for the Fed to to go, okay, numbers are looking good. We can reduce rates, we can lower rates, and which is what we want for these. If we want our risk asset prices to pump. But it's just it's difficult. So now that the government has started up again, the BLS can start gathering data again. Apparently, the October's numbers. So this is the longest shutdown in history. It started October 1st. It finally ended on November 13 or something like that, or maybe earlier, 12th. It's the longest shutdown we've ever had. We missed all of October, so basically October's going to be this mystery month forever now because we're just not going to know what happens then. They're scrambling to get the November numbers together because of these, just lack of staff, lack of resourcing in the organisation. But if we can get the numbers and they're not too bad, we can maybe look at a mid-December I think is the next FOMC meeting where they make decisions on the cash rate. Maybe we can get another 25 pip drop. It's going to be exciting for people. We've got some liquidity injections coming because the government started up again, dropping rates. There's still some good news out there, like in the macro terms. We spoke last week about Trump's stimmy checks that were coming back again, just like what happened in COVID times. So $2,000 per person, up to $2,000 per person. Trump has now since talked about that again and said if it's happening in mid 2026. So that's still, that sucks because that's too far away. I want the stimmy checks to happen now. But I mean, again, I feel like that's far enough down the road that they can probably cancel it without losing too much face. Give it a couple of months for everyone to settle down, then just quietly not talk about it ever again. Because as last week we spoke about, they're planning on funding these checks from all the funds raised through tariffs,
which is their own taxes.
Yeah, which is their own taxes, and it's fine. They're giving back to the public what they took off the public essentially, but the tariffs just haven't raised enough money to possibly cover what the checks will do at this stage. So unless they really if you only get a check if you've earned less than $10,000 a year or something, then they can probably make it work. But for it to actually be meaningful to risk assets, then we need it to be distributed to a lot more people, and we need a lot more tariffs raised.
Right. So what do we need to make Bitcoin great again? What do we need to get another? What could be, apart from the macro stuff? What could be some? I
think I don't know. A theme I'm hearing a lot recently is about how AI has really just taken the winds out of Bitcoin, right?
Well, so it's taken a lot of attention away.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's in bed. A lot of even the Iris guys, a lot of Bitcoin miners have kind of pivoted over to doing AI stuff because they're very analogous, right? There's the, you need data center space, you need a lot of electricity, and this is the AI is hey, we need all that too to run our AI models. So AI is very, very much front and center at the moment. A lot of investment is going into the AI stuff. Having said that, as I spoke about at the beginning of this podcast, AI is actually it's sort of on a downtrend, it seems, at the moment. People are a bit nervous about putting it. They feel like maybe they've missed the boat, or they realize how expensive this whole AI thing is, and it's difficult to invest in something that looks like it's nowhere near making money yet, kind of thing. So yeah, it's just a weird market to be in at the moment.
I thought I was supposed to be the Debbie Downer.
Yeah, I'm trying to I mean, there was a lot of positive stuff I talked about, I thought, but yeah, no, AI is sort of sucking the wind out of the sails, but AI is not doing that well either. And a lot of the AI, the hot, the tech stocks are doing poorly recently as well. So it's not just crypto that's down; everything's kind of deflating, and there's a lot of pressure. So we'll just have to see what are the things we can do to make this better. Well, what can you do personally?
Yeah, Nick, I need to. Yeah. Well, what can I do this afternoon?
Yeah, yeah.
I got
45 minutes after the podcast. What do I need to do to make prices go up? Yeah, no, I don't know. There's no answer to that, I'm afraid. Yeah, we just have to hope and pray. The present thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. All right, done. All right. Well. Okay, you know what? There's no point being doom and gloom. This here, go outside, touch some grass, people. There's an old crypto saying we haven't brought for a while. Never mind too much the bear market. We'll be back at some point, hopefully. But importantly, you don't have to worry about it this weekend because you can come to the CryptoCon party this weekend. Well, you can't because we've got no tickets left. Sorry.
But you can come to the
But you
actual
can come to the
convention.
actual crypto conference, come hang out, forget about your troubles for a weekend and have a good time. There's going to be heaps. It's not just us. Well, we'll probably be the most fun people there, but there will be other fun people there as well, and there'll be lots of cool stuff happening. Last year there was, there was like a plunge pool thing, and there was like one of those like blow up things with the, you could jump inside and try and grab the cash stuff.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, whatever. There's heaps of fun. So come on down, forget about your troubles for a weekend.
Yeah.
Come
Leave
say
it-
hi, and should we wrap it up there?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next week, if not this weekend.